She's also lives here in this area. She grew up in ISKCON in New Goloka, Hillsborough, and her parents are disciples of Srila Prabhupada. She has a MA in Women's Studies from the University of Florida, and she's also certified hypnotherapist. She served at Krishna House for many, many years, both as a director there and on the Krishna House board. So we've done that service together, and because we've also worked together in presenting Saranagati to students there, I've invited her to help with the presentation. So please also welcome Shamala Kishori to our group. Give her a warm welcome as well.
Ivo.
Oh, thank you for coming. Thank you. Wonderful to have you.
So thank you, Jiva, for inviting me to speak on Bhaktivinod's Appearance Day. Typically, on appearance days of either the Lord or the Acharyas, we speak, biographically about these personalities, which is proper to learn about them because we may not know too much. But I was asked to speak specifically on Saranagati because I think the last class I gave, I talked about how much Saranagati has meant to me in my life, and Jiva thought that would be a good subject for this class, and just so I can know, what is the time limit on this class? Because I can typically speak for hours, but especially on this, so I want to. Is it an hour?
It's generally an hour, but I don't know if there's anything afterwards. Rasaraj, is there?
Yeah, it's a fast day. There's no breakfast, right? So we can go extra? Okay.
I think so.
Yes, Mataji, we do not have anything, so you can continue whatever time you need.
Yeah,
thank you. You'll find that it's an addictive subject, and we end up sharing and talking a lot about it because it has made such impressions on our lives. So that's what I wanted to do today is appreciate Saranagati. It's a whoops, I have to. Okay. Just a moment, I'm having a technical difficulty with the display. Okay. So we'll start the class with some nice prayers. I think you'll all know these, so we can say them all together in unison. Om Gyanatamirandasya Gyanandana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Tapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sankyavadi Astyatya Detatharine Namo Bhaktivinodaya Satchidanandamine Nila Shakti Sarupaya Rupanutarayate Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Vipasundhyevata Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha. So again, thank you for inviting us. And we're going to appreciate Saranagati. Just a little bit of history of how I've come in contact with Saranagati. We, in ISKCON, we've had various presentations of songs and songbooks through the years. And I remember and Pyari and Jiva will remember. When I first joined a small preaching center in Providence, Rhode Island, there was a devotee there, the late Padmanabha Prabhu. And I remember in the evenings, he would just go down to the temple room and just chant bhajans. And it was so attractive as a young devotee to be introduced to bhajan, these prayers of the acharyas. And I remember the songs, and of course Padmanabha, for those who know him, Gita Mala, you may remember Padmanabha. And,
yeah, he was our temple president for a short time, yeah.
Yeah. So he was such a charming person. He was a jokester, and he was just so fun to be around. And he made kirtan and bhajan so fun, sometimes with his high squeaky voice and so bhajans immediately became attractive to me at that time. And I remember the first bhajan book. I actually have it. So you may remember this, the first bhajan book of ISKCON with a picture of Bhaktivinod Thakur on it. And so that was our first introduction to Saranagati songs, even though it never said where the source of the songs were. They were just written by Bhaktivinod Thakur, and they had some titles, but never said it was from Saranagati. And then a number of years later, in the 80s, a full book on Saranagati came out with all of his songs, and I have that one too still. Some of you may remember this book. So this was the first Saranagati introduction to ISKCON. And I remember taking that book and trying to learn the songs. At that time, I was living in Boston. I was a pujari and head cook, and my services prevented me from attending practically any of the morning program, because I would be on the altar from waking the deities to dressing the deities and cooking breakfast and cooking lunch. So basically my entire first part of the day was, elsewhere from the morning program. You could say the kirtans and the classes, although we would have them piped in through speakers and things. So I really needed to, for myself, have some sort of, concentrated moment in my day where I would have some study. And so I would take this book and I would sit in the temple room of Radha Gopi Ballava, and I would chant those songs. And, I didn't know I wasn't a musician. I wasn't, certainly didn't know Bengali. And so it was kind of rudimentary, you could say, or just sometimes making up tunes. But I did it, and I just loved them. I became very attracted to them. And so obviously growing, doing so many different services, moving to different places, I've ended up here in Alachua, and I became involved in Krishna House. And that's when, I first came in contact with Shamala, and there were a number of opportunities of doing like kirtan programs there with the young. In Krishna House, for those who don't know, it's like a wonderful old time oasis of an ISKCON ashram life, where young people would come and live together in an ashram setting, which is quite rare nowadays in many temples, especially in America. And obviously we had to keep programming for them to keep them fully engaged. So we won't go into all the auspices of Krishna House, but one of those programs was we started to have these Saturday night kirtans. And at one point we kind of started to make them thematic. And I had been asked at times to bring a theme. And so I would bring a theme of a song from Bhaktivinod Thakur to set the tone of those kirtans. And the devotees they just loved them. And I remember there were some devotees that, wow, they were just hankering and asking for more and more of that. So we decided as a group, okay, let's study the entire Saranagati together and see what comes of it, and see if it could happen, because there was so much initial interest in the thematic stuff that, okay, let's try the whole thing. Because rarely do you ever see any program of when you see a seminar on Saranagati, it's usually a summary of Saranagati. Even when they do like a retreat, I attended a retreat in Govardhan one year where supposedly it was supposed to be the full Saranagati, and it was over 6 days, but still it was only touched on some of the more popular songs that we're accustomed to. But doing every single song was quite an endeavor, you could say, or a monumental achievement or aspiration that we were. So we did it, and wow, did we have such fun. Shamala, do you want to share some memories of that, of how that, how you liked it or how it affected you?
Yeah, it was really powerful. First, I just want to say thank you for having me. I'm grateful to be here with everyone. The steady, like the commitment we made to go steadily through the songs was really powerful, especially because we did it over 4 years in a row, and or something like that. And
well, we did it annually for three years in a row, but we did the whole book in 1 year. So
right.
It didn't take us
so
4 years.
Right. Yeah. So the full book in 1 year, and going over that full book in 1 year is really powerful, because you're building, like the songs build on each other, and the progression of the different aspects of Saranagati, kind of build on each other. So it's a really powerful experience to go steadily through the whole book over the course of a year. So yeah, I was really grateful to be part of that. And now we're doing it again at the Krishna.
Yeah, we just started a couple weekends ago. We're doing it again with a whole new group of eager young people. And I found that Saranagati is appreciable by all walks of ages of devotees. Although you could say, well, Bhaktivinod Thakur wrote these prayers in his old age. He repeats it again and again. Bardake Kona, at the end of my life, now in old age. And I find that, when I, try to do some service for devotees in hospice who are at the verge of leaving their body, I'd come and I'd sing some of these songs, and how much they can relate to them. So relatable. Some devotees who have recently passed here in the Alachua community, I would bring and sing Saranagati to them, and they would just really, and sometimes I would even replace the name of Bhaktivinod with their name so that they could make that prayer their own. And they really love that, to be able to do that. But we've also found that young people really appreciate how Saranagati is a full presentation of how to practice Krishna consciousness. And when we dive into it a little bit, look into Saranagati, even just a little bit, we see that we're all practicing Saranagati already. It's just, here is a way that we can look at the details of our surrender, our sadhana bhakti, and kind of infuse a prayer to it, because we can't do things on our own always. We always need the help of Guru, Shastra, Sadhu, and certainly of Lord Krishna. So the prayers, being in a prayerful mood of the steps we take as we practice sadhana, as we practice bhakti, is very helpful. It's such a wonderful addition. So I'm going to go through. So
Prabhu, one question. When are you doing the study? Can other people join?
I'm not a huge technological genius, so I don't know how to do that. I don't know if the Krishna House is streaming it, and I haven't asked them. I mean, we do it a very workshop type of atmosphere and a very intimate, you could say, atmosphere. We're all very close in the room. Of course, we're all vaccinated and we wear masks to be safe. But we haven't jumped to the. We tried to do some of these programs on the Zoom platform, and it's very difficult because of the delay and the timing of music and beats. We can talk about it like we're doing here today, but it's very difficult to really enter into it unless you're actually physically together. So we've been in separation through most of COVID. Now that most of us are getting some sort of protection, vaccination, and things are slacking off, you could say, we're trying again. Hopefully it won't get worse. But yeah, as far as I know, I don't know if they are streaming it, but I can find out. And if they are, I can share it with Jiva and she can pass it on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Saranagati, if we translate the word Saranagati, we generally hear the Saranagati means surrender. But and what does surrender mean? And so I'll ask a question. Surrender is you could say, well, what is surrender? Let's try to just try to figure it out. I want you to try to read my mind of what I'm thinking. But surrender is what type of an activity?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I've heard that sometimes surrender has a connotation of involuntarily being forced to do something. Yeah,
that's the dictionary meaning. Dictionary meaning of surrender is that you're giving up or you're submitting to a higher authority. But what is that submission? And I'll again in the looking at our time already, I'll say that Saranagati is a change of direction, because what is before surrender, whether it's Saranagati surrender, which we call divine surrender, or the material side of surrender, like waving the white flag, I surrender. It's a change of direction. And what was before was I was fighting. Generally, for the material side of surrender, it means I was fighting or I was opposed. Now I've surrendered. So it's a change of direction. So Saranagati is a turning. It's an active turning toward Krishna. And Saranagati comes, and this is, Bhaktivinod explains this, that he uses this verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we'll talk about this again a little later in more detail, but Krishna Bule Se Jivanad Hereby Hirmukh. This is Lord Chaitanya's teachings to Sanatana Goswami. And Krishna Buliya, we are all Krishna Buliya. We have forgotten Krishna. And how is it that we have forgotten Krishna? We are Bahir Mukh. We have turned away from Krishna. So this mood of Saranagati prayers, Bhaktivinod puts himself in the mood that I've turned away from Krishna. So how does Krishna feel? So just like you're all looking at me right now, and let's just imagine we're having a conversation. And then all of a sudden, if I were to do this to you, and it's easy on a chair, but now how do you all feel?
Not good.
How do you all feel that I did that to you? Any comment?
Not good, I said.
Yeah, not good.
Good.
What else?
Very sad.
Sad. Wow, I mean, that could be debatable. My face is pretty ugly, I would say, but
Like you don't care.
Insulted.
yeah. So realizing that we've forgotten Krishna because we've turned our back on him, that's the beginning of surrender. That's the moment we want to turn back. And how do we turn back? Our turning back is through the process of sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is our method of how we're turning back. So, surprise, you've all been practicing Saranagati already. And it's, you may not have been calling it Saranagati, you've been calling it sadhana bhakti or my sadhana or my practices, but it is Saranagati, and it's nothing different than Saranagati. So part of what we've done in studying Saranagati, we deepen our appreciation for the process of sadhana bhakti by hearing it presented in this unique form of poetry and song. That's like a wonderful element that you don't get just by reading, explanations, scriptural verses or explanations on sadhana bhakti or bhakti practices or hearing a lecture. There's something in addition when you hear poetry or song. What is that additional thing?
The emotion.
The emotion, exactly. You get something from a song or from poetry that you can't get just by orating, being an orator of the verses. When it's you sing with emotion. And generally when you have like singing contests or something, usually when people lose or fall behind, the judges will say, I didn't feel your emotion in the song. Therefore I couldn't relate to the song. But when we put our emotion into the song, then you really feel the import of it. So that's one thing we get in the appreciation of sadhana bhakti through the song. You feel a friendship and shelter of the Lord. Because we're offering our emotions to the Lord, we are feeling reciprocation. And when you do it in a group of devotees together, what a building of relationship. Like I mentioned, sitting with Padmanabha, those were like some of my best memories in Krishna consciousness, just sitting and chanting and going through the prayers, or doing these Saranagati programs with Shamala and the young devotee. It's like our favorite times of the year, some favorite memories. And building friendships is so important in our lives, in our Krishna conscious lives. Then we also learn how to pray. And I have a quote. I have two quotes from Yamuna. Yamuna, everybody knows who Yamuna is, yes? If you've ever been to an ISKCON temple and greeted the deities, you've heard Yamuna. Govindam Adi Pujam Tamaham Bhajami. So she was a great saintly Vaishnavi in our movement, exemplary devotee. And she also had a great affinity for Bhaktivinod Thakur. So I have two quotes from her. The first one is about prayer. And she's remembering how Bhaktivinod Thakur taught her how to pray. Not only did she feel a nurturing connection to both Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and Bhaktivinod, but she enthusiastically encouraged others to connect with them through their songs, prayers, and commentaries. She credited Bhaktivinod Thakur with teaching her how to improve the quality of her own prayers. So we always say part of our sadhana, part of our Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam is our Vandanam, is our praying. So how do we pray? Do we just pray by reciting prayers, mechanically? No, it's different than that. And so she has this memory. She wrote a letter to Bhaktivinod Thakur, thanking him for this ability of learning to pray. And I'll read that. It's not that long. Most Reverend Bhaktivinod Thakur, today I fall at your lotus feet because it occurred to me that of all your many gifts you share through your prayers, the gift you taught me is how to pray. If anyone read your heartfelt prayers for longing for Krishna, for Lord Chaitanya, and for your own spiritual preceptors, they would not discover that you are a highly placed governmental officer, that you possessed a large family and dedicated wife. You authored 100 books on over 100 books on devotional practices, edited several magazines, were a stalwart defender of Vaishnava Dharma. So she's saying, if we were just only had his songs, we wouldn't understand that side of his life, because those songs were special. And she says, instead, by studying those songs, they would find a humble soul begging for the chance to make progress in spiritual life and begging for the mercy of the Lord and the Vaishnavas. So isn't that, I mean, at least I'll speak for myself, that's exactly where I am. I have nothing myself. I have to beg, and I have to learn how to beg from the devotees how to engage in devotional service and to get their mercy. I pray to you for the ability to increase the sincerity of my prayers from one of pretense to one of actual sincerity. So not just pray, again, saying a prayer in a mechanical way, but how do I say the prayer and really mean it? This is what we learn from Saranagati. That's real prayer. Not that we just say the prayer mechanically, but really entering into it. We learn that by studying these songs. And certainly by those practices, by deepening those things, we deepen our devotion to Krishna, which certainly is a goal of all of us sadhana bhaktis. So what are our qualifications to study Saranagati? Do we have to be musicians? Do we have to have no knowledge of rag and tal and everything very intricate on musical side of things? Do we have to know the Bengali language? Do we have to know Bhaktivinod in the scholarship way and his biographical way? No, those aren't the qualifications we need to study Saranagati, although they may be helpful. I'm not going to discount them completely, but they're not needed. As I mentioned, my first trying to, I don't know Bengali. I still don't know. I've been studying, Krishna consciousness for over 40 years now, and I don't know the language. I know some words. I can say some words, and maybe I could fake an accent here or there, but I don't know them. Like if I were to just read a Bengali song, I'd have to look at the translation. But the way I see it is that Bhaktivinod Thakur is like our however great grandfather. And we're little babies sitting on his lap. And if we were to utter our first word, oh, Baba, Baba, in a very childish, or how charmed he would be. Not that we said it in the perfect pronunciation, or he would just, he's stating affection. So I see Bhaktivinod Thakur looking down on my sorry attempts to say Bengali language, his songs, that, look at this nice young child, how much affection we have for that attempt. So what are the qualifications? If those aren't the qualifications, what are they? And I would say from studying and teaching and seeing devotees take to it, it's just being simple and sincere. Just having some sincerity in the offering of prayers is enough as a qualification. And then trying to make it personal, make it real for yourself. And I am falling behind on time, but I'll start moving a little faster. So we encourage everybody to be enthusiastic, take advantage of Saranagati, make it your own personal journey, and be open and feel the power. So there's a magic in Saranagati as well. And that's my second quote. And even though we're running late, I'm going to read it because this is my favorite quote of all of Yamuna's quotes on Bhaktivinod Thakur. This is certainly, and I think you'll all like it because it involves a memory of Srila Prabhupada. So this is when Srila Prabhupada was staying at John Lennon's house in England, Tittenhurst, England. And, Yamuna was one of the devotees there serving Srila Prabhupada in the house. and you get a picture of the layout. Prabhupada was upstairs in a room, and the devotees were downstairs. So that's the setting. So when Srila Prabhupada chanted alone, praying to Krishna, it was very special. On this one morning, Srila Prabhupada was alone. So when he started singing, a few of us gravitated to the stairs to listen to him. So right after he finished, he rang his bell, and he would have a bell he would ring for his servant. He rang his bell, and I came up. He said, "How did you get here so fast?" I said, "Well, we were just down the stairs listening to you." So they were at the bottom of the stairs listening. And I asked him what he was singing. He said, "The prayers of Bhaktivinod Thakur." And then he continued to explain. The prayers of Bhaktivinod Thakur are so very powerful that they act on the heart just like lightning in a storm. Then he said, "Have you ever been in a lightning storm where lightning came and hit very close by?" So she remembers, yes, she was. And so he clapped his hands together and said, "Just like lightning, these prayers will act upon your heart." Amazing. Then he clapped his hands together again and repeated, "It will act upon the heart." So he continued, "Even if you don't understand the language, it is that strong. The vibration alone carries the potency and the depth of purity of the composer of these prayers." So imagine that is such a powerful statement. We may read these prayers, we may not understand them, but the potency of Bhaktivinod, who is the composer of the prayers, his potency is delivered. Just as when if we clap our hands, we become alert. Just so that alertness, that becoming alert to something, that is the potency being delivered. Just as when lightning strikes. So how many of you could answer Srila Prabhupada's question? Have you ever been in a place where lightning is struck near you? Can everybody say yes? I know we're in Florida. I grew up in Connecticut, so I know I will say quite confidently that you have no idea of the intensity of thunderstorms as we do, but I do know there are thunderstorms up in Connecticut. But it's just magnified down here in Florida, which is, I believe it's still the lightning capital of the world, the lightning strike capital of the world. But still, when that lightning strikes near you, everything in your consciousness immediately goes to that light, to that sound, and to that, and so that's the power. It may be imperceivable to us, the power of Saranagati, the power of these prayers, but Prabhupada is saying, he's endorsing that is the power of these prayers. And so, and we've seen, Shamala and I, we've seen devotees who actually take to these prayers. Yeah, I mean, they become so thoughtful and so intent on their sadhana and their practices. It becomes a part of their life, and they never forget it. It's an enhancement. It's not that this is something different. This is a new thing we're introducing to Krishna consciousness movement. No, this is just bringing light to what is already there through these wonderful prayers that Prabhupada has encouraged us to study. All right, we have to move on because we're going to sing a song eventually, right? This song is Ramananda Roy's, or this verse is Ramananda Roy's appreciation of Rupa Goswami's poetry. And we don't have time to go into depth, but he says, "What is the use of a bowman's arrow or a poet's poetry if they penetrate the heart but don't cause the head to spin? What is the use?" If poetry or the recitation of poetry to Krishna, if it doesn't cause our heart to yearn more for Krishna, then there's no use to it. But this poetry is the lightning strike. It will It will inspire that. So this is a glorification, Ramananda Roy's glorification of Rupa Goswami, and we can use this as a glorification to Bhaktivinod's. And so we already talked about surrender, the dictionary meaning, and these are some of the things that I've found that studying and teaching Saranagati to devotees, these are some of the things we appreciate. We appreciate surrender as a devotional surrender, meaning it's with love. It's an active coming back to the shelter of Krishna. It's understanding our true identity. It's going back home, back to Godhead. It's placing ourselves and acting in our eternal relationship with Krishna. These all encompass the activities or the teachings of Saranagati. And Krishna asks for Saranagati. So where does Krishna ask for Saranagati?
Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja.
Keep going.
Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha.
Yeah, Krishna himself is asking for Saranagati. Saranam is surrender. Sarana or Sarana is surrender, and Gati is the result, the end, the topmost. So that means it's divine. It's only could be referring to Krishna. And so this translation, obviously, abandoning all varieties of religion, surrender unto me. Don't fear. And then in the Bhagavad Gita intro, Prabhupada adds this to this. The Lord takes all responsibility for one who surrenders to him, and he indemnifies such a person. So we understand Krishna is asking for surrender. So I ask a question now: why does he ask for surrender? Any thoughts? Why does Krishna ask us to surrender? Is he just a guy that wants a lot of followers? You say, surrender to me. I'm telling you to surrender to me. I just want a lot of people under me.
Because we are part and parcel of
Parcel
Krishna.
of Krishna. I was going to say the exact same thing.
That's true. That's absolute. Mama Amsa. We are all Amsas. We are all parts and parcels of Krishna. But why does he want us to surrender to him?
Because how can a part work without being surrendered to the whole?
Absolutely true. How can a part work or be useful? But
He wants
what
us
else?
He wants us to be happy.
Yes, he wants us to be happy. He's not looking for, some official we've surrendered. We surrender. We're yours. No, he wants us to be happy. And how is that happiness achieved? Is when we're the mame vamsa, jiva bhuta, when us, the jivas, understand our happiness is with Krishna, and the happiness is nowhere else. So again, we'll go back to this same verse. Krishna bulayas jiv anadhya bahir mukh ataeva maya taradeya samsara duk. That when we forget Krishna, when we turn away from Krishna, we become attracted to Maya. And this happens from time immemorial. And that Maya gives us all kinds of misery, samsara duk. So we've actively turned away from Krishna, and we become happy. We fall into darkness, we fall into the samsara, and we become unhappy. And so Krishna wants us to be happy. So he wants us to turn. So here's a visual. Everybody now put down what you're doing, because I don't see what you're doing. I want you to look very closely at the screen and take everything else out of your vision. What do you see?
Dark.
Darkness. That's the samsara duk. We are unhappy when we are in darkness. That's the Maya. And so when we're bahir mukh, this is what we see. Even though we're squinting and we're trying to see, is there something really there? what is really there? Is there something there? Maybe there's something over here. Maybe there's something over here. Maya is keep saying, yes, there's something over here. And we keep looking, and we keep turning our back. But soon as we start turning to Krishna, then something becomes visible to us. Something becomes visible. And that what we see is Saranagati, the way out of that samsara dukh. It's a doorway out. So Saranagati could be seen like the doorway out of darkness. How do we get out of darkness? We do it by surrender to Krishna, by taking shelter of Krishna. And with that, there's this is Prabhupada's motto for back to Godhead. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hayandakar Yahan Krishna Tan Nahi Maya Adhikar. Krishna is the sunshine and Maya is darkness. Where there's Krishna, when we turn to Krishna, there is no more samsara dukh. There is no more unhappiness. That's what Saranagati is doing. Saranagati is turning us and bringing us to happiness with Krishna. And there's magic in that happiness. There's true magic, you could say. And that magic is talked about in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. You'll know this verse, many of Samasrita. Samasrita is surrender. When we surrender to what? The Pada Pala Palavam, the lotus feet of Krishna. And for those who are acquainted with lotus flowers, if you peel one of those petals off a lotus flower, it's like a boat. And you put it in water, it'll float. So Krishna's feet are like this beautiful lotus boat. And if we jump on that boat, then the Bhavam Budir, Mahatpadam, the ocean, the samsara dukh, which is darkness, and it's compared to an ocean that is vast, that is unending, that is turbulent, that is, and when we look at the world today, how frightening is it? Everywhere is on fire, or it's underwater, or there's wind, and that's just the elements. And then there's so much strife in the world. If you look at the news, my God, you'll be so depressed. Every story, there's something. And then even in a place where we think we're united, in the United States or a united place, there's so much strife and there's so much suffering. There's so much diversion between every single community to another community, or it's samsara dukh. It's an ocean of misery. And so we want to be happy, we want to leave. And so the magic of surrender to Krishna is when we accept those feet of Krishna, that ocean shrinks and shrinks and shrinks and shrinks to an elephant foot, to a water buffalo foot, to a cow foot, but then just to a calf foot size. And if you imagine, if you put this calf foot size, you fill it with a little water, how many of us would have any difficulty to cross over that? We know no difficulty. So by the Samasrita, by the Saranagati, we can cross over. So that is a very long introduction to the song that Shamala is now going to sing. We're going to sing the song, and then we'll hear a little bit more about how Saranagati is comprised. So again, because Zoom is difficult, we ask everybody to stay on mute. Shamala is going to sing each verse 2 times. On the second time, we can respond individually at our homes, but please keep yourself muted so that it doesn't throw off her timing. I'm going to mute, and we'll have the words up on the screen.
Okay, so we're doing the introductory song, and I'm going to sing the full stanza, and then you'll repeat on mute the full stanza, and then I'll go on to the next one. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Kori Swaparshada Sviyadhama Saha Avatari. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Kori Swaparshada Shri Adhama Saha Avatari Atyanta Dulabha Prema Kari Baredan Shikaya Sharanagati Bhakatera Pran Atyanta Dulabha Prema Kari Baredan Shikaya Sharanagati Bhakatera Pran Dainyatmani Vedana Goptritve Varan Avashya Rakshive Krishna Vishwasapalan Dainya Atmani Vedana Goptritve Varana Avashya Rakshibhe Krishna Vishwasapala Bhakti Anukula Matra Karyera Svikara Bhakti Pratikula Bhava Varjanangikar Bhakti Anukula Matra Karyera Svikara Bhakti Pratikula Bhava Varjanangikar Sadanga Sharanagati Hoibe Jahara Tahara Prarthana Shune Srinanda Kumar Sadanga Sharanagati Hoibe Jahar Tahara Prarthana Shune Srinanda Kumar Rupa Sanatana Pade Dante Trinakori Bhaktivinod Pode Duhun Padadhori Rupa Sanatana Pade Dante Trinakori Bhaktivinod Pode Duhun Padadhori Kandiya Kandiya Bole Amito Adhama Shikaye Sharanagati Koro He Utama Kandiya Kandiya Bole Amito Adhama Shikaye Sharanagati Koro He Utam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Kori Swaparshada Shri Adhama Saha Avatari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Kori Swaparshada Shri Adhama Saha Avatari Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur ki jai.
Jai. Thank you so much, Shamala,
Thank
for
you.
that. So that's a little taste of Saranagati, the introductory song. Again, we're running out of time, but I'll go as quick as I can through this. So this introductory song is divided into 3 portions. The first portion is the first 2 verses, and we won't go into great detail as we normally would have with time permitting. But basically, that Saranagati is brought to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the avatar of bringing mercy to the fallen souls in this age of Kali. And we get that information from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, from that the second verse, at least, of this introductory song is based on this 4th verse of the Adi Leela. May the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, be transcendently situated in the innermost chambers of your heart. Resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, he has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before, the most sublime and radiant mellow of devotional service. So prema, he's brought prema. He's bringing pure devotional service to us, and that prema is very difficult. Durlabha prema, very difficult to get without the mercy of the Lord. So Lord Chaitanya is freely bringing that, and what becomes of it? For the devotees who practice Shikaya Saranagati, we are learning Saranagati from Lord Chaitanya's Shikaya, from his teaching. What do it becomes our very life and soul, the prana of the devotees. So we could say Saranagati is the life of devotees, and again, we understand Saranagati to be our sadhana bhakti. The practice of sadhana bhakti is the life of the devotees. Then the divisions of Saranagati. This is where I get a little complex, and a lot of it is contrived in my mind. But by studying Saranagati for, again, over 30 years now, this is what I come to understand of the divisions of Saranagati. So this is fun to see it on the board. So Saranagati we just heard it was divided into 6 parts, but I'm going to say it's actually divided into 2 parts. So the part 1 is the 6-parted part 1. And then the part 2 is the part 2 of it. So part 1 is the Sad-anga part. It's called the 6 limbs, or the 6 different parts that comprise of what Saranagati is. And that is based on, again, Lord Chaitanya's teachings on Anukulyasya Sankalpa Pratikulyasya Varjana, this verse that he spoke to Sanatana Goswami. But part 2 is Lalasa. And a Lalasa is a prayer that is of a longing desire, of submitting that here is my desire. So he is desiring through the part 2 of engagement in Saranagati. So that's what makes Saranagati such a complete treatise on sadhana bhakti. Part 1, so let's look at those limbs. So humility, dedication of the self. So dainya, the humility, dedication of the self. Part 2, part 3, acceptance of the Lord as our maintainer, Goptritre Varana. And then part 4, acceptance of the Lord as our protector, Vishvashpalan, avoidance of unfavorable things, Pratikulyasya Varjana, and the acceptance, Anukulyasya Sankalpa. So these are the 6 angas. So as you can see, Madhava has contrived another 3 divisions of these 6. So, okay, Saranagati is 2 parts with 6 parts, and then those 6 parts are in 3 parts. So it's getting quite confusing. So let me explain those 3 parts. So So humility and dedication of self. This is what I believe to be the very foundation of Saranagati. The foundation means it supports. It is a supporting elements of Saranagati. Without that humility, without that understanding that I need to change direction, when we're faced of that dark screen, of that dark samsara dukh, only until we're humble enough to admit we cannot survive without Krishna and turn toward him, only then can Saranagati begin. And with that comes so much feelings of humility, so much feelings of dedicating ourselves to Krishna. So that becomes a very foundation of Saranagati. And it's interesting to note that of these 6 parts, part 1 and 2, he wrote 15 songs, and of the other 4 parts, he wrote a total of 16 songs. So you can see the emphasis that he himself placed on humility and dedication of the self. Humility with 7 songs, dedication of the self with 8 songs. Then the 3 and 4 with 4 songs each. This becomes the very core aspect of surrender. And Jiva Goswami, speaking on the verse that Lord Chaitanya has taught to Sanatana Goswami, he says, number 3, Goptratre Varna, is the very core, the very main limb, or the angi. We say sad anga, 6 limbs, 6 different limbs, but the angi, the very trunk of those limbs, the main limb, is this acceptance of the Lord as the maintainer. And Bhaktivinod explains that through the songs. And then accepting the Lord as our protector. Those 2 things, they go hand in hand. Once we understand, oh, my Lord, you maintain everything about me, my very life, my very soul. Therefore, you will give me protection. That becomes the core of that surrender. Then the next 5 and 6, that becomes how to remain, practices for remaining within Saranagati. So avoiding the unfavorable, acceptance of the favorable. So that's part 1. Now part 2, lalasa, the longing desire, is also divided into parts. And so the first part is the bhajan lalasa, or desire for service. Bhajan is service, and lalasa is desirous of service. And that it goes through very basic to advanced practices and devotional service. And it's like a freight train. Once it starts, it doesn't stop. It just very quickly. And I think there's 13 songs there. But in those 13 songs, you also get an added benefit of studying in depth the Nectar of Instruction by Srila Rupa Goswami, which is our 11 verses. In each of those 11 verses, there's a correlating song within this section. 9 or 8 of them have direct correlation, and some of them are alluded to. So the basic to advance, if you read Nectar of Instruction, very basic, just Vacho Vega Manasukrota, just giving up things, controlling the senses, to a very elevated understanding of surrendering to Krishna and Vrindavan. So that's that section. Then another section, desire for spiritual perfection. It's the lalasa of siddha, of attaining perfection. And that is a highly advanced section, highly advanced desires and perfect love. There are 3 songs only in that section. And then ultimately, the very end of Saranagati, with just 2 songs, is the attainment of that perfection. The perfection he's desiring, he attains it. And that, again, the attainment of perfection is the full awakening of our spiritual perfection. So that's a vision. Here's what Saranagati, if anyone asks, here's a complicated version of what Saranagati is. You could just say surrender and maybe get you out of it, but here's the complicated version. Now, you look at this, I have also come up with an additional 3 sections of Saranagati. If I haven't made it complicated enough, I'm going to make it a little more complicated, but I think you'll like this too. So there are 3 more divisions of Saranagati. The first is called Sambanda. Sambanda, you'll know, is our awakening, knowing and learning that we have a relationship with Krishna. And those first 4 sections are focused on that, on the Sambanda, on the awakening of that, knowing that we have a relationship with Krishna. Then I think you've caught on. The second part would be the avideya, the acting in that relationship. How do we act? What do we do? What are those activities we do? That is highlighted in those songs. And finally, again, the very rare attainment of perfection, of very highly advanced emotions in devotional love is the prayojana. So we are coming to the end. I'm just going to have to go. This is where I like to talk the most, but I won't. These last 3 verses are the handbook of how to study Saranagati. Just very quickly, the first is to know that when we say these prayers, Krishna is hearing them. Sune Sri Nanda Kumar. Krishna hears the prayers. And that's similar to what that quote from Srila Prabhupada on Bhaktivinod. The potency of the prayers is coming through it, and Krishna hears it. The promise is there. And Krishna promises, and there are many quotes, Krishna promises he hears our prayers. Second is that Saranagati is guided by Srila Rupa and Srila Sanatana Goswami. Srila Sanatana Goswami mainly for the beginning Sad Anga part, the 6th part of Saranagati is all based on the 4 chapters of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 20 through 24. All the practices of devotional service, the moods are explained there by Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami in turn wrote many books on that and how to do it. So that's there. And then by Rupa Goswami, the second part, the lalasa, the desiring, the hankering, the study of Nectar of Instruction. And then finally, so the Krishna hears the prayers. It's guided under Rupa Sanatan, and we must do it in a very humble way with a straw in the teeth, as it was mentioned. And then finally, with feeling and emotion, as it was said earlier, the element that song has over recitation is that it provides emotion. So here's the emotion at the very onslaught of the very beginning of Saranagati. Bhaktivinod is just expressing with great tears. I'm pleased, Lord Chaitanya, who is delivering Shikaya Saranagati, he's delivering Saranagati. Please make me the best of persons, Uttama, because I am the lowest. I am the Adama. I am Adama, the lowest of persons. Make me the Uttama by teaching me Saranagati. So, I bet you're all thoroughly exhausted. I hope that on this day of Bhaktivinod's appearance day, you will dive in and relish Saranagati on your own. Get a copy of Saranagati. Sing these songs in your homes, in your places of worship. Doesn't matter if you know the tunes or you don't, or you can keep a tune or you know the Bengali. Just touch them and you'll feel that lightning strike. So 5 minutes over, not so bad, but we're fasting, no breakfast. So any other thoughts? Shamala, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, you gave such a thorough presentation. It was wonderful. I just two brief things. One is that in the process of singing these songs, I have found that my relationship with Bhaktivinod Thakur has also deepened, and it's very personal in that way because we do have our individual relationships with these acharyas. So it's a wonderful vehicle to deepen that relationship with him through his songs. And the other thing you were mentioning, how we've seen the lives of students being touched by, this singing these at Krishna House. And just yesterday, I was speaking with a resident at Krishna House that I'm mentoring, and she said she has a ticket out soon she's headed home soon, but she said, I really want to extend my ticket just so I can stay for the Saranagati Saturdays. She said how deeply they touched her, and she's only attended 2 of them so far. So it's just it shows, it's a testament to how powerful these absorbed sessions in Saranagati are.
Thank you. Anything from our Hartford, Connecticut community?
Yes. Srila
Hi,
Prabhupada,
Jiva.
Hare Krishna, my obeisances. Srila Prabhupada said that the songs of the previous acharyas, the Goswamis, are as good as Vedic literature. But I know for me, they're even better because they do contain that emotion and that feeling and that teaching, you know, as what we should strive for and how to pray.
Yeah. Yeah. When you think about that quote that Yamuna shared of Prabhupada explaining that how their very presence is delivered through the songs, it's similar to why we put pure devotees in samadhi. My other session there is a picture of Bhaktivinod's home in Navadvip, and behind the house is the dome of his samadhi. So his samadhi is there, and his body is there. And when you study what is the concept of samadhi, samadhi is that these pure devotees, their presence is still on the planet. It's not that we have to go to Navadvip and sit under that shelter, although that is very special. But you know, it's not that their association is limited by time and distance. Their association is right there for us. And so when we go to samadhis, we hope, at least in those times, we can be focused enough. Well, here I've made this journey to the samadhi. Let me at least think about this person. But the real purpose of the samadhi is that they are always giving their association. They never stop giving their association. So whether or not we can go to Vrindavan and sit in Prabhupada's samadhi, we are always getting Prabhupada's association through his books, through his writings, through his songs, through everything he's done. And similarly, when we, as Shamala was appreciating, when we touch his Bhaktivinod song, we are associating with him. And that's the importance of Gaudiya Vaishnava of samadhis. It's not just something, you know, to put up some memory of the person so that the passerbyers receive, but no, they're still on the planet and they're still giving association in that and that inspiration. So it's, and again, the important point, it's not separated. We're not separated by time and space, time or distance. So they're still on the same ground that we touch here. That ground is connected, maybe in a distant way, to that same ground where Bhaktivinod is and Srila Prabhupada and all the other great acharyas. Thank you.
Yes, in the introduction to the Upadeshamrita, Prabhupada writes that by reading the writings, the books of the previous acharyas, like you said, you associate with them. And when we follow those, then we serve them.
Yeah. Wonderful. Any other thoughts?
Madhava, you did a fantastic job as usual.
Oh, Pyari, Haribol.
Accept my humble obeisances. Glorious to Srila.
Do you remember Padmanabha?
Huh?
Padmanabha.
Oh, yeah, of course.
He would go, I remember him in the kitchen. He was also a cook for everybody. He would, when he would cook, when he would like throw spices, he wouldn't measure anything. And sometimes some people wouldn't like that he didn't measure recipes. He was quite a concoctor, but he would go and throw things in. Quite charming.
Every word was a song.
Jacob said every word was a song. Or
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. great devotee. Anyway, you're doing really well. It's really nice class. And we're having our grand opening on the 3rd of October. We're expecting you will be there.
On the Zoom, you can send me the Zoom link.
Actually, it will be virtual too.
Okay.
But it would be nice if you could be there. You can be our special guest.
Well, actually, the 3rd of October, is that a Saturday? Oh, the
Yes.
2nd of October.
Sunday.
The
It's a
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, the 2nd of October is our next Saranagati Saturday, so I have a commitment locally. But,
Well, you can fly out after that commitment and pick up
okay,
at the airport.
I'll expect the ticket in the mail. I'll keep looking.
Okay, keep looking. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Thank you. It's been nice to see all your names. I remember some of the names in Haribo. But if that's it, you tell me what's next, or
Yeah, you can also do, you
You're-
can do another program anytime, whatever. We can let you know when, I guess. But it would be nice if you.
yeah, whenever you want me to, you know, this is a great time. My wife, she's usually gone on Saturday mornings. She does does different markets selling her artwork, and so I'm always free at this time of day and week. So this is a great time for me.
So as long as she doesn't, so if she's not there, you can do it.
Well, you know, I'll probably have a list of things to do if she's here, but you know. No, I can do it anytime, even if she's here. How's that?
Do you have time to sing a bhajan before you go? A Bhaktivinod verse?
Another one? I can. Is there any requests out there?
Let's see.
Let me grab my Saranagati book.
Gopinath's a nice short one.
Oh, yeah, good, really.
The nice short one is 9 verses, right? Let's tell you on a couple through.
Let's see.
That's also very intense.
You have a
Also
favorite?
very what?
But it's an intense one. It's
Yeah. No, just anyone
Do
you
you have a
like.
favorite?
oh, I do, but I have a number of favorites. But again, let me give me one moment. I'll grab my harmonium and try to set it up, and I'll sing one for you.
Okay.
Well, I'll just sing the first song. It's also an intense song, but if at least it would go in line with what we've already done. So this is called Bulia Tomara. And it's in humility, and I don't have it on the screen. But wait a minute, actually, I do have it available. If you have the time, since you asked, let me,
That one's my favorite too.
oh, okay, wonderful. Let me look for,
He knows.
Oh,
yeah, I'm grabbing it to pull it up for you.
Prabhu, I sent in the chat.
Oh, yeah, actually, if somebody else could display it, because I won't be able to click the things forward. So somebody else, if somebody wants to pull it up from the KK songs or something, we could follow it from there.
Prabhu, it's in the chat.
Maybe the host can.
Yeah, I've stopped sharing, so anybody who wants to take charge of that. See if I can find the tune.
Rasraj Prabhu can share, I think.
Who's hosting?
Everybody have the words? There you go. So this, the mood of this song again is on that same verse. Krishna Boliye Sajiv, Anad Hirba Hirmukh, that I have turned away from Krishna. And this is the feeling of Bhaktivinod thinking about how Krishna is feeling. And so he's feeling, oh, what have I done? And he'll say that in those exact, what have I done? What is going to happen to me? So you could say that this song kind of leaves us hanging, and it's intended to. It's intended to leave you with a very solemn thought of Krishna Bhule Sajiv, I've turned my back on Krishna. So it's not a very happy song, but it's a song that you can at least explore what Saranagati has to offer of how deep it can go, and how we could learn and try to make our own prayer. We may not be able to say these very words to Krishna, but they're very helpful in teaching us how to pray. So if we can pray or just get a glimpse of the depth of this prayer, then our prayers certainly would be enhanced. And I'll do just as Shamala, if everybody could mute so that I don't get thrown off by the timing. And I'll just sing each line twice, and you can respond on the second time. Okay. Samsare ashiya peye nana vidya vyata buliya tomare samsare ashiya peye nana vidya vyata tomara charane Asiya chiyami boli bodu keda kata tomara charane asiya chiyami boli bodu keda kata. Jatare chilama jakona vishama vadana pashe janani jatare chilama jakona vishama vadana pashe ek baar Prabhu Janama paiya koribo janatava takona bhavinu janama paiya koribo janatava Janama hoiro porimaya jane na hoiro Janama hoiro porimaya jane na hoiro jnana rama Sojanera kole ashia katainu gara adhera jere sojanera kole ishaya katanu gara janaka janani snite Ragilo Bhalo Janaka Janani Snehite Buriya Samsara Ragilo Kamedina Dina Balaga hoya kinu balaga sa Kamedina Dina Balaga hoya kinu balaga sa Adaki chudine gyana upadilo Patapodya Adaki chudine gyana upadilo Patapodya Vidyara Gaurave Brahmi Deshe Deshe Gana Uparjana Kori Vidyara Gaurave Brahmi Deshe Deshe Gana Uparjana Kori Swajana Palana Koriye Kamane Bhurutomare Hari Swajana Palana Koriye Kamane Bhurutomare Hari Tomare Hari Mulinu Tomare Hari Mulinu Tomare Hari Mulinu Tomare Hari Bardhake Agona Bhaktivinod Kandiya Katarati Bhardhake Guna Bhaktivinod Kandiya Katarati Navadiya Tore Dinabrita Gelo Ekona Kiha Begati Navadiya Tore Dinabrita Gelo Ekona Kiha Begati
you.
No, I forsook you, O Lord, and came to this world of pain and sorrow. Now I submit my tale of woe at your lotus feet. So this tale of woe is the Dukkara Katha. We've heard of Krishna Katha, Gramya Katha, but this is Dukkara Katha. This is the sadness of my life. The sadness, I'm submitting this tale. So this is a clue that we can even submit these things to Krishna, because that's part of our turning to Krishna, to recognize who we are. And Krishna, there's no hide, what we can say, Krishna is in our hearts. There's no hiding who we are, our mind, our desires. Krishna knows them all. He is Sarvagya. He knows everything within our mind. So, but he's I want to actively now tell you my sadness, the tale of what? Of my bulia, Krishna bulia Sajiv. Here's my sadness of my bulia, my forgetfulness of you. And this is you could say, quasi-biographical sketch of the next few verses. While still in my unbearable fetters of my mother's womb, I saw you before me. You revealed yourself but briefly, and then abandoned this poor servant of yours. So this gives us a insight of the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the movements of the living entities, of how Krishna appears when the living entity is in the womb to awaken us. Here you are about to take another birth. So he's acknowledged, even though you did that to me, even though you did that for me, Krishna, still, buliyatam, I forgot. At that moment, when I swore to worship you, again, that is stated in the third canto, that the suffering entity, after 8 or 9 months in the womb, he sees Krishna, he folds his hand, I swear, Krishna, I will worship you. But at that moment, I swore, after taking birth, with it the network of illusion robbed me of all good sense. As a fondled son in the lap of relatives, I passed my time smiling and laughing. My parents' affection helped me to forget the pangs of birth. I thought this world was very nice. So what is that? Mata eva maya tara samsara duk. The attraction, the maya itself covers and attracts us and helps us forget Krishna. Day by day I grew, and soon, you can move it up, or I can read a different translation. Who's in charge of that display? All right, I'll read a different translation. Day by day, I gradually grew into a young boy and began playing with other boys. Soon my powers of understanding emerged, so I diligently read and studied my school lessons every day. He'll expand on this in the next song. He talks about education. Proud of my accomplished education later, I traveled from place to place. Brahmi Deshi Deshi, I moved from place to place and earned much wealth, thereby maintaining my family with undivided attention. And he, on the third song, he goes into depth of that, of raising a family, and how all of these things, Bulino Tomarahari, that's why we repeated it. This is the mood. Throughout it all, Bulia, Krishna Bulia Sajiva Nadhir Bahirmuk, I turned and I forgot you again. Even though the chances have been there, I still forgot you. And so this is he's saying, and how much I can apply this to my life, my whole life, not having any understanding of Krishna, and how many times in the day still, even though, Krishna has appeared to me in so many wonderful ways, still, how many times do I forget Krishna throughout this day, throughout this moment? And even right now, I'm forgetting Krishna. I may be thinking, boy, I can't wait till this is over so I can go get something to eat. Oh, wait, it's a fast day. I can't eat. Well, when am I going to have fast? Am I going to eat at lunch? Oh, yeah. And so immediately we forget Krishna. It just goes on like that. So this this samsara dukkha, this is our unhappiness. And what is it? Krishna, the premise of Saranagati is Krishna wants us to be happy. Then finally, this is perhaps the most moving of all verses. Now in old age, Bardhakyakon, Bhaktivinod very sadly weeps, Kandiyakata. I failed to worship you. Na bhajiya tore. I didn't worship you. Dina britta gelo. And I passed my life in vain. And then, so if we do that, we know the results of this, the Maya Atta Eva. When we're attracted by Maya, what happens is the samsara dukkha. And so he understands, and so he asks, he leaves this song with this open question: what will be my fate now? Like, and that is based in fear. Like, what have I done again? I've wasted my life. He just gave us a very snippet from embryonic life to youth, to education, to married life. Now at the end again, oh, I forgot you again. I did it again. Now what's going to happen? Am I going to be a kita janamaho? Will I be a small insect now in my next life? He's opening that, because he, again, in humility is that change of direction. It's saying that, okay, yeah, I can't do this alone. I have to show Krishna I am surrendered. And there's a hidden, and because I'm not teaching the whole Saranagati class, I can tell you the hidden stuff here. There's a hidden. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, we did this at Krishna House. Again, picture many young devotees hearing this for the first time, and the next two songs are equally as, you could say, glim or gloomy and sorrowful, and it left the impression that there were some shocked kids there that, wow, this is intense. This is very intense. When is it going to get any better? But there's a secret, and I'll say, let's bring up song number 5 and 6. Let's start with 5 to see. I think there's a hint in 5, and then it's fully blossomed in 6. Go down to the translation. Let me see. Where is it? Ah, there, number 4. Go up to 4, Bengali. Okay. Patita bandhu tuhun, patita damahama. So he's saying that Krishna, you are the patita. Let me get my translation here so I can see both at the same time. It's easy when they're both on the screen together. Song 5, yes. Patita. Oh, the wrong page. Okay. You are the friend of the fallen, Patita Bandhu Tuhun, and I am certainly fallen. So, first is, he's saying, he's showing his life, his dukkara kata is how fallen I am. But your name is Patita Bandhu. You're the friend of the fallen. Oh, okay. Let's put those together. And I am Patita Dhamma. I am certainly fallen. So what would the natural conclusion be?
You're my friend.
You're my friend. And then, so that's like a glimpse. A friend is good. Go to song 6. Song 6, he used 2 more terms. He uses Dina Jananat. And this one is really clear. Dina Jananata, yeah, number 2. Dina Jananata Tuhun Kayasi Tomara Charana Mama As. And the translation is, I find no strength to rise again. He's speaking like that. I spent my days lamenting my dukara kata. Here's my, but Lord, you are the master of the meek and humble. So until we can really face our humble situation and how falling we have, what an insult to Krishna it was by turning our back on him, until we face that, because he is the Lord of those who are meek and humble. He gives it to, he becomes our Lord, he becomes our protector. And what is the Lord? What is the master? What is the Prabhu? The Prabhu is the caring person who is going to give us shelter. And then he ends this section with such a so yes, we won't end this class with, let's go to song 7. Then all of a sudden it changes. He changes. First he starts, Emono Durmati, and this is a little maybe more familiar to you, this song, Samsara Vitore Podia Achinoami. I have fallen in this material. He summarizes the first 6 songs in the first verse. Here's my suffering and a lamentable situation, but you sent one of your devotees to me. So we could relate this one exactly one-to-one, that Srila Prabhupada was sent to us. We were also suffering in our samsara dukes and our own unhappiness, but Srila Prabhupada was sent to us. And then what happened? Oh, everything becomes so Doya Koramora Patita Deki. Again, in a humble situation, he saw how humble and fallen we were. But then what happens? Oh, humble soul, listen to this good news. It will gladden your heart. Lord Chaitanya has appeared in Navadvip, and he explained, Shikaya Saranagati, the introductory song. Lord Chaitanya has appeared just to give you this turnaround, the open door policy to go back to happiness in Saranagati. And to fulfill the promise of the Vedas, he's come. So again, more on that appearance of Lord Chaitanya. Together, they overwhelm Nadia with happiness. Chaitanya is the son of Nanda himself. So again, this hints that if Lord Chaitanya is the son of Nanda, then Suno Nanda Kumar, as Krishna hears our prayers, certainly Lord Chaitanya hears our prayers of Saranagati. So go to him and receive deliverance. Hearing this, Bhaktivinod has come weeping and weeping. This time, this weeping is different. This weeping is in happiness and great hope to grab the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. So although the weeping is there, it's a different weeping from the Kandiya Kataya, the weeping, oh, Krishna, I forgot you, what will be my fate? That weeping is one. This weeping, Kandiya Panik, is a positive one. It's one of upliftment, of hope, of great hope that, the Lord has been sent to me that through the devotees, and I'm now engaging in this wonderful protective service of the Lord. So just see, that's a tiny glimpse of the magic of how Saranagati is so wonderful, and it fully is interwoven in all of our scriptures as presented by Srila Prabhupada. And again, there's nothing more of our sadhana bhakti than the Saranagati. It's wonderful. Okay, 9:41.
Haribol.
Half the day of fasting is over.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Hi, Madhava.
Thank you, Prabhu. This is wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Have a wonderful rest of the observance of Bhaktivinod's appearance, and take some time also to read a little bit about him and his life, and that may give you some more encouragement to study Saranagati. And Saranagati, again, it's beautiful, but there's so much that Bhaktivinod has given us. Gitavali, so many songs on Kirtan and appreciation of Lord Chaitanya and Krishna's names. I like to think, we chant Jai Radha Madhava every day in the beginning of Bhagavatam class. So Jai Radha Madhava is a song by Bhaktivinod Thakur. actually part 4 of a song, of a larger song, a song of 100 names of Lord Krishna. But this particular song is just Krishna's names in Vrindavan, which is quite unique. All the other songs has Vishvasha, the Krishna is in Narayan features and his incarnations. But this little song, I like to think at least, Prabhupada took this song as Krishna in Vrindavan, and this is our focus. This is our attention when we study Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna, the Supreme Krishna in his Swayam Roop, Swayam Bhagavan form, Krishna.
I think
So
Srila Prabhupada
he's
said,
everywhere.
I think Srila Prabhupada said that song describes Vrindavan in its entirety
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah. So, this is the real Krishna, I think he said. This is real Krishna. In the purport of that song. But yeah, Bhaktivinod is everywhere. He's in our Sundar Artik. He's in our, when we say our prayers before Prasadam, Sarira Vidyadal. That's also a song that's only one song of, I think, 5 songs of Prasadam. So there are a few other songs of Prasadam. And when you have Khichdi, there's a song for that, if you just for Khichdi. If you have shak, if you have spinach, there's a song just for that. So
Can you stop talking about Prasadam, please?
oh, come on. If we talk for another 2 hours, you'll be okay, right? Increasing your appetite. Anything more?
Prabhu, does he reveal his eternal identity in any of his songs?
Yes, he does. He does in a number of places. In Saranagati, he does very briefly. And that is in the Siddha Lalasa section. The Siddha Lalasa, again, the Lalasa is the desire for Siddha, perfection. And so he goes into the mood of his eternal, what has been revealed to him as his eternal position, as a manjari, as a servant of, under the direction of Sri Rupa Manjari and Lalita, Sri Lalita Gopi. But yeah, those are very, when we hit those songs, those become very, you could say a little out of reach, certainly out of reach for me. Some may appreciate more, but when we hit those songs, then usually it's in a very reverential manner that, we're going to sing this song, how much we can apply it. Like this song, Dukkara Kata, I could apply that all day. I can talk about my suffering all day. But talking about my perfection, that I cannot talk about with realization. So we sing those songs in the mood of, wow, just see how Bhaktivinod is so gracious to share this song and this revelation with us, who really don't deserve it, you could say, if we're in the humble mood. But again, these are his prayers. Siddha Lalasa is part, those 3 songs actually comprise 10 songs in another work of his called Gita Mala, where he in that book, he goes in much more depth of spiritual perfection and the higher processes of devotional service as explained by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Ujjvala Nilamani. So he has a song for every stage of devotional service there. And again, very advanced, very elevated. But again, in Saranagati, it's just at the end, 3 songs about that perfection. And he does sprinkle 1 or 2 in the middle as well. But yes, he does. And that again shows how elevated Bhaktivinoda Thakur is. Although he is, we see his bio, he did this and that in his life, but being a practitioner of prema of sadhana bhakti, you can achieve this topmost realizations as well, if we are sincere and if we're we endeavor as taught by the acharyas, as taught by Lord Chaitanya. Thank you for the question. Okay. Took up 2 hours almost now.
Wow.
Anything else? Any final? Good to see you, Jiva and Piari.
Thank you. Madhava. Very
Prabhu,
Krishna.
how can we get a whole set of Bhaktivinod Thakur's books? Do you have any?
Oh, I think they sell them pretty much everywhere. The versions I have are Dasara Suttas, and they're out of print, but there's this set I think you've seen. I think Krishna.com sells these sets. I think you've seen these.
Mhm.
These are, I think, from Bhumi Pati, his translations. Or just to be
This is
sure.
on Krishna.com.
Yeah,
you said,
Bhumi
Prabhu?
Pati and Purnapagna. What's that?
These are on Krishna.com?
I think you can find them there, but actually Ras Bihari Lal in Vrindavan sells these. They printed them for him. And actually,
Right, but if I were to order them on the internet, what would be the easiest
yeah,
place to
actually,
get them?
I'll tell you, Ras Bihari Lal and Vrindavan, they actually do very good for international shipping. I ordered a few books a few months ago, and I got it in 3 days.
Oh, really?
So-
Wow.
So they actually have conquered the just now coming syndrome.
Yeah, I'd like to know how to do that, how to access that.
But yeah, I think Krishna Culture, Krishna.com, these have been, I've seen these distributed pretty much everywhere. Amazon may even have those books. at this
Amazon may
point.
even have it. Yeah, I'll check.
You look them up, but I know Ras Bihari Lal, I've been ordering books from them for years, and when I'm there in India, when I'm there in Vrindavan, I usually get a lot of books from them. Most of these books behind me, and they're too heavy to bring back, so I just pay them for shipping right there, and they're at home before I get home from India. So it's they actually done very good. They use DHL as their carrier, and I've never had a problem with them. So
Mhm.
I know they have the book, but you can check some other places as well.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you all very much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and it's been so wonderful to spend today with you, or this morning. So Hare Krishna, all glories to Bhaktivinod Thakur.
Thank you.
Thank
Vancha
you.
kalpatarabhyascha
Thank
kripa
you.
sindhuvyevacha
Patitanam
Patitanam
pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
namo
Namo
namaha.
Namaha.
Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Madhav Das Prabhu ki jai, Shamala Kishori Mataji ki jai.
Bye.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Forward to many more sessions.
Yes.
From this.
Yeah, just send the invites. Just let me know when.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.